We are live, peeps. We are live. We are live. What is up? What is up? What is up? What is up, peeps? Drop a comment in the chat when you are in. Drop a comment in the chat. When you are in, drop a comment in the chat. COVID Cabal. Back again. COVID Cabal. Back again. Back again. Back again. We're not doing a late night one either. We're rolling right now. Let's see here. Let's see who we got in the chat here. My chat's all glitchy looking, so drop some comments here. Clean up my chat. Drop a comment in the chat. Drop a comment in the chat because it's doing this little swirly thing. And if you can't drop a comment in the chat, or if you are and I'm not seeing it, then shoot me something on Twitter right now so I know that there's a glitch. All right, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, man, there's been some... I don't think it's personal for me. This is a pretty small account. I have had some glitches on Twitch as well. For instance, last video recorded a completely different nickname, completely different title for the video. And both times, if maybe you guys have noticed that whenever I start the video, I send a link out and it doesn't work. The stream doesn't start. So something's glitchy is going on with Twitch. So just gotta roll with it. Hoops Laureate, what's up, man? What's up? What is up? We're back again with the COVID Cabal. Back again, COVID Cabal. Back again. So apologize to all of you guys who were trying to catch my pre-election stream that got cut off. I was watching my daughter. I'd put her down. She woke up. Had to go deal with it. Dad life. You know, it's just the way it is. Dad life. You got to deal with it. So, you know, we kind of have the results of that stuff anyway. I mean, I was seeing a lot of stuff yesterday that Brazil's military is imminently going to make a move. And, of course, didn't happen. Maybe it will happen, but it hasn't happened. And at this point, guys, I feel like, you know, just got to get more sanguine or more level-headed about this stuff, right? More level-headed about it. Let's talk about last night's election. Speaking of level-headed, none of this was at all surprising, right? Everybody here knew that there was going to be fraud. They knew that there was going to be fraud. And you know, there's a lot of people who are celebrating it as a positive. I'm not in that camp. I don't just kind of find that stuff bullshit. And I'm really tired of... I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm really tired of just the narrative manipulation. I'm tired of even like having these kind of conversations, you know, where you have to entertain as a, you know, you have to accept as a reality that someone like Fetterman, who looks like a Halloween creature, has bizarre policies, and most importantly, is brain damaged from a stroke and cannot speak, that we have to entertain the possibility that Fetterman won the state of Pennsylvania. You know, and then we have to talk about it like, well, here's why he won. Like the thing is, this is what they do, is that when they have someone win the election, when they push someone in, then they use that as a basis point to create a narrative around it. So you see the narrative that's being created is that DeSantis is the only possible way forward, because DeSantis, swept Florida. Everybody wants DeSantis. Nobody wants Trump. Trump's the problem. If you support Trump, Republicans are never going to win again. You have to back DeSantis. Now, look, I would have voted for DeSantis if I was in Florida. I'm really happy with what DeSantis has done. Don't take these comments to think that I hate DeSantis. I am suspicious of him. I'm suspicious of his connections. I'm suspicious of his background in Skull and Bones. I'm suspicious of the widespread talk about him pairing up with Paul Ryan and Kevin McCarthy, to take out Trump in 2024. He is the perfect candidate to redirect MAGA flavor, because he has legitimately stood up to a lot of the insanity in Florida. But that doesn't mean that either A, this wasn't like a deep fake from the very beginning, to have some place of opposition so that they could draw energy away from Trump. And it doesn't mean that maybe that wasn't how it started off. Let's be more, naive and say that he started off as just, a regular politician or whatever, but he's letting the fame get to his head. Look, there is a reason that they hate Trump. There's a reason that they hate Trump. There's a reason that everything they do is designed to go against Trump, because Trump is legitimately their enemy. Which is why, you have all these, Trump's the Antichrist accounts. Please make some fucking sense. Please make some sense about this, because they are not setting up Trump to be the savior. They're setting him up to be the complete opposite of that. They're trying to take him down at every point they possibly can. And to the extent that they would prefer DeSantis over Trump by a long shot. So this is the big thing. If somebody in the Republican Party is going against Trump, then I immediately don't trust them. I don't trust them either because they have excess ambition that they would put themselves above the movement, or I don't trust them more likely because they are involved in some scheme to infiltrate and take it down to begin with. Okay? So I want to make that point. Florida had the freest elections in the country, the freest and fairest elections in the country. I know that Florida has been the recipient of a lot of conservatives who have left other states, about 1,900,000, I think. But nevertheless, Florida is the results in Florida are results that you would be seeing in a lot of different states. Even New York, you can look right now. It's about a 5-point difference between Hochul and Zeldin, which, I do believe that if there wasn't the usual padding in the big cities, that Zeldin would be governor. But I don't know that there's more going on in New York besides that. I don't know that. Obviously I wouldn't be surprised about it. But I don't know that. But what you can just see automatically is if you look across the border in Pennsylvania, you have, Democratic state senators who are losing in Pennsylvania, but yet you have Fetterman and, the governor easily winning because it's a captured state. I'm really just so sick. I'm so sick of hearing people talk about this stuff like it means anything. Like it means anything whatsoever. Just call it like it is. States are captured and you're not getting fair elections in them. You're not getting realistic results. If you have a captured state, you're not getting realistic results. That's just the reality of the situation. Yeah, we don't vote our way out. And this is the big question here. This is really the big question, and I don't have the answer to it. I don't know what the answer is to the situation. But I'm not trying to propose answers. I'll just say that we've all been looking for a pretext. Well, when's the military going to do something? When's the military going to do something? Well, let me just say this. The military is divided. And I've been digging more and more into this, and I think that we need to get real. I wanted to talk about this the other night. We need to get real about the situation in the military, because there's a lot of people in the sort of Q truther movement who just don't, they're not able to. We have to try to do everything we can to reconcile what we see going on behind the scenes, reading between the lines, the sort of 5D perspective, investigative perspective. But we also have to still keep ourselves in the bounds of reality. If you think that the military is in control, this is all white hats doing things to wake people up, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you on some fucking clown planet? You're on a clown planet. The military is allowing post-birth abortions to occur to wake people up. Go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. You don't have any clue about what's going on. Yes, there are white hats in the military. Yes, there are white hats in the military. And I believe that that's what Space Force was, and I do believe that Ballistic Missile Command has not given Biden the nukes. And I believe within the military there's a lot of sentiment against what's going on. But make no mistake, huge swaths of the military have been captured. Generals have been promoted and bought off ever since there was a big purge of generals. There was a big purge of generals in the 90s. Big purge of generals in the 90s. And after that, it's been a gradual infiltration. And you can see what's going on right now. You can see all the people who are running the, Joint Chiefs of Staff. These are, there is woke stuff throughout the entire military. Talk to somebody in the military. Talk to people in the military, and they will tell you that the upper brass is completely captured, and a lot of the new recruits, to the extent that they can get any of them, are also brainwashed. It's more a mixed bag, but what you have is a lot of the lower officer corps, and especially the NCOs, the sergeants, that are fucking pissed. Right? That's what you see happening. Now, are there good generals? No question. And I believe that that the Space Force was really relevant with this. But what I want people to understand is that if you're wondering, well, why hasn't the military done something? Well, maybe the military hasn't done something because the military hasn't sorted out its own shit internally. Go look at what's going on right now. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, because he is the President of the United States, is sending the entire military inventory to Ukraine after he dumped $80 billion of it in Afghanistan. The military is not in control of the situation completely. The White Hats are not in control of the situation. They might have advantages on the board in terms of moves, and they are, I believe this, in a long-term position to win if they don't make any crucial mistakes. But this is not a wrapped up game on the third dimensional level. It has to play out. And I can tell you guys, I don't really know how these election results put us in a good position for some sort of direct intervention. Because what they do is they're not like a red wave, so doesn't do us as much good as we would like, and at the same time, it's not like it was so captured that people are going to stand up in the streets, especially because there's not like an individual to rally behind. The public, I mean, you see this right now. I've seen tons and tons of normie conservatives on Twitter whose response to this is one of the reasons we have to leave Trump behind. DeSantis is the way forward. Like, you're just a fucking idiot. Sorry to tell you that. You're a fucking idiot. You don't understand the game being played. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't grasp the game being played. And I think the reason for it is that the American public, while they're fed up with the left, they are conflict averse pussies for the most part, But more than that, they're just politically lazy. They're politically lazy. There is still not engagement from people. People are still talking about sports ball. They still don't. They just don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Well, Cerno, look. Cernovich wanted to be brought on board the Trump team in 2016. After the election, he thought he had done them a good... He said that he had done them, he had done a lot to help the Trump movement, and he expected to get some sort of input. I think he expected to somehow maybe even be involved in the administration. And he got boxed out. And he's been pissed ever since then. And you could see it all happen. Look, I don't have firm evidence of that, but I have a lot of, what's the word? It starts with a C. Circumstantial evidence of that. And look, I got nothing against Cerno. He's entitled to his opinion. Don't think he doesn't have his own axe to grind. Don't think he doesn't have his own agenda. He's involved with something and we don't know what he's involved in. Could just be his personal opinion. I don't think so. But he's got an axe to grind with Trump. He's had an axe to grind with Trump all the way since the summer of 2017. So I can tell you that I have a very... I don't even know what the correct word is. I didn't really care about these elections. And I didn't care about them because I saw this happening. If they were even going to happen, I saw it happening like this. And I don't know about you guys, I'm really tired of living in the bullshit. I'm tired of dealing with the bullshit. I'm tired of having to, I'm just tired of this manufactured reality and imaginary consensus. It's just amazing to me that people even talk about 2024. It's amazing that they even talk about 2024. Like, well, 2024 will sort this out. Do you have any clue what the fuck is going on? Do you have any clue what the fuck is going on in this country? They want to check out. They don't want to deal with it. That's just it. Now, I'm not trying to be too negative here. There are a lot of people who are waking up. And people showed up today and they did vote big red. They did. You can see it. I can see it in Jersey. There was not a single in my entire shitlib town, not a single sign for the Democratic congressman. Not a single one. I'm not even sure if I've seen a single one out there in the entire area. Now, I'm not saying that those people didn't vote for him, but I'm telling you that the enthusiasm gap was massive. Drive around, you would see Republican signs, Trump signs all over the place. Okay? All over the place. The people were activated. But guys, the system's collapsing, and you can see it right here. How can this continue to go on? How can you continue? Like, you guys saw what Hispanics at this point are voting close to what whites are voting as, right? And I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what to make of a lot of these minority votes anymore because I'm not actually sure in the cities how many of them are voting. I'm not really sure about this. I just honestly don't, like, during Obama, you saw people in the cities, like, getting out and voting. Are inner city people getting out and voting? I just don't, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I think so many votes are coming out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. I've talked to multiple people who were Democrats for life, hated Trump. They wish Trump was president right now. They said that. They wish they had voted for Trump. They cannot believe what is happening to the country. And so you have that kind of stuff, and yet you have, well, maybe we're tied in the Senate. Bull fucking shit. That is a sign of a system that is no longer functioning. Our system is no longer functioning. In 1984, when Reagan won re-election, 49 states went red. And that is how a healthy country looks. That when there is a big political movement in the other direction, it's reflected. Right now, there is literally nothing you can do to flip a blue state to a red state. And the reason for that is because the state is completely captured. It's not because there are so many liberals won't change. Look, yeah, there are liberals who are completely brainwashed. But a lot of them have come over to the other side, and a lot of them stayed home. We saw this in the exit polling data, that there were not people from their demographics showing up. Massive people from Republican demographics showing up. Blue demographics were not showing up, yet somehow they still win. People just need to stop accepting the premise of it. And I'm not calling for any kind of like, we gotta overthrow. I'm not calling for any of that stuff. I'm just saying this is the reality of the situation. It's the reality of the situation. We don't have a functioning system anymore. And I think people who are talking about 2024 are in some kind of fucking coma. They're in some kind of trance. Like, well, now I got to think about the next election. DeSantis is going to run. Just go seriously, have a cup of coffee, throw it on your fucking face, get a little burn on your face so you wake the fuck up. Enough of this nonsense. Enough of this, let's talk about the polls. And enough of it. Enough. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that it can't continue like this. And I think we're going to have to see some overt moves soon. And so, let's talk about what might trigger that. So, we've heard that the documents for Trump's arrest have been signed. From Juan's telling of this is that they, it doesn't mean that they're going to do it. It's just, but if you're going to do it, you have to go through a lot of different channels because Trump has Secret Service protection. You can't just try to go over there and arrest him without having that pre-cleared, et cetera, et cetera. It's very interesting that I believe that Trump is supposed to go in front of the January 6th committee on the 15th of November. And that's the day he's also saying he's going to make a big announcement at Mar-a-Lago. Now, I don't know that Trump is going to go in front of the January 6th committee. There could be some pros from it if it's televised, that he could maybe say all sorts of stuff. But if he goes, he also legitimizes it. I don't know what he's going to decide to do. I think that there's a fair argument to be made that if he goes and legitimizes it, then he's kind of spitting in the face of people like Bannon, who took some big hits. So, just real interesting comment here. Unmarried women went plus 37 for Dems. Married men and women and single men all went Republican. Yeah, that actually, that makes a lot of sense. It wouldn't surprise me that single women are starting to swing, or not changing their swing. But yeah, just to finish this thought, and I'm going to go into some stuff with Ukraine afterwards too, because I think it's relevant. Romeo, you're asking about when the spigot will be turned off in Ukraine. But, so this is one of the things I'm wondering about. Now, we will have fraud in the news. There's a lot of big fight going on in Arizona again. People really skeptical about what happened in Pennsylvania, understandably. But what I'm just thinking here, are we, when they arrest, are they thinking now, are they trying to make this narrative Trump can't win? And then are they thinking that since they've now set up DeSantis as the alternative, that people aren't going to care when they arrest Trump, if they arrest Trump? If Trump, because I could see Trump doesn't go to the January 6th committee. Then he announces he's running for president. Then do they arrest him, or do they arrest him right beforehand? I do see a lot of drama there, and maybe that's the galvanizing factor. Maybe people hit the streets when they arrest Trump. I honestly don't know. I don't think anybody knows at this point. I don't think, because there's no one knows. There's too many different playouts. There's too many different possibilities. And so we can think about it, but I think a lot of this stuff for us is creation. You know, what are we doing to create? Are we standing in our sovereignty? Are we standing in our integrity? I will just say this though. How the people respond is everything here. Because I don't know that any of the white hats, I don't know if they can make a move without the people. I don't know. I don't know if they can make a move without the people. You could also say, are the people going to make a move without the white hats? I don't know. I don't have enough of a pulse right now. I just see what's online. So we're going to see, but I will tell you this. I do believe that next year we are going to have some really, really positive movements. And I actually think it will start to begin as this year closes. I just don't see how it can keep going on like this. You know, how can it keep going on like this? There's too many people who don't want it. Too many people who don't want to live in this reality. I mean, there is this question about the vax and about how the vax killed creativity. It's possible. I've heard some theories on it. But, you know, I also don't know. You know, I know plenty of people who have gotten it, at least just, you know, the first two, who are not, they may not be super, super awake, but they're not, like, asleep completely. They think this is a clown world, too. I don't want to lump them all in the same basket. And I'll also say that I think there's more of a people who were already in a certain state of consciousness took it rather than, you know, maybe it's a mutual feedback cycle. But, I mean, you know, people were in zombie mode in 2020. That was before that came out. People have been in zombie mode for a long time. I mean, there is some sort of entrainment that's gone on with people. And a lot of them just can't see it. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I am optimistic. I'm always optimistic. But I just don't know how it's going to happen. All I know is that I don't think people are... I think people are done with... I don't know, guys. Just don't see how much longer it can go on like this. It's such a mess. It's such a mess. You mean, look at Ukraine right now. I bet a lot of Russians are feeling the same way. You know, Russians are now pulling out of Kherson City because apparently they don't have the supply ability to defend it. I mean, if you're a Russian, that's got to feel just like so demoralizing. And I'm not going to say it's the wrong military decision because I have no idea about the logistics situation. All I'll say is that the Russian military, if this Russian government wants to continue, they've got to start going on the offense more aggressively. You're going to give up Kherson City, there's got to be an offense completely on the eastern part of the Dnieper River, right? They're going to have to take Kharkov, Sumy, and Chernigov, and Poltava, right? I think a lot of the Russians are just getting really tired of the excuses and the absolute incompetence. You know, there's rumors, of course, that the pullout from Kherson is a pretext to some negotiated peace agreement, you know, that Sullivan put forward. One of the requirements of it, you know, Russia would get to keep its current territory, but they'd have to withdraw from Kherson. Is that, I mean, it's suspicious timing, isn't it? Isn't it suspicious timing? I don't think it's going to happen, but you know what? Who fucking knows at this point, man? Who knows? But you just think about that for a second. If Putin were to do that, if Putin were to agree to that, he'd be a fucking idiot. And then you'd have to really come into questions about how autonomous he was. I don't believe any of this is going to happen. I'm just entertaining the idea. I mean, that would be so politically unpalatable to Russians. Because remember, at this point, Kherson is Russian territory. He has a constitutional requirement to defend it. So to negotiate it away in a peace deal, I mean, it's just, there is so much evil. There's so much evil. Did you guys realize how much evil there was? Did you realize it was this bad? I don't think any of us really quite understood how bad it was. You know? And sometimes it feels like it's like we're trapped in something. You can always create your own reality, and you should. But when I look at just the consciousness of so many people, and what they view as their life, what they view as the future, I almost don't get it. I almost don't get it. I almost don't get, like, why some people are around, why they want to be here. You know what I mean? Just being real here for a second. I'm just thinking about all these normies, and it's like, just think so many people, do they realize it could be different? Do they realize it could be different? Do they care that it could be different? Do they care about the injustice? Sometimes I don't know. I just don't know sometimes. I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see what the public does. I mean, a lot of us have been talking about this for a while. You guys have all been here for a long time. And I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if it was worth it. We'll see if it was worth it. But anyway, guys. Yeah, I don't know if they don't think about the future. Are they aware enough to even be disgusted? Yeah, just don't. It's almost like the level of consciousness is so different. It's so different. Romeo, yeah, that's right. Because as you guys know, I'm back on the bottle as of Thanksgiving. Although I'm really keen on not going back to how it was. Actually, a little bit worried, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm worried about redeveloping the habit. So, but I am excited for Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving wine, we usually do a Riesling. White wine is good with a sweet white wine, like Riesling Gewürztraminer, is really good with traditional American Thanksgiving food. But for the red, I think, Rhone, it's either Pinot Noir or like Grenache-based wines are usually pretty good. So I think, just to be a little fancy, I think I might do a Chateauneuf de Pape I've got downstairs, because that's a high-end Southern Rhone wine. So I think that might be nice. Anyway, guys, I'll be in touch with you this coming week. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff coming down the line, a lot of changes. I don't think this is over. I know that right now this is the post-election gut punch, right? I know that, and maybe my take is a little bit more pessimistic than it should be. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a downer. I hope I'm not being too much of a downer. Because it's not even surprising to me, so it's not like I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. No, I totally believe it happened. I do think that we are going to overcome this, but there's going to have to be we're going to have to see some action. I think that's really if I can say anything, I would say that we are going to have to see the hand of God. We're going to have to see some direct move from the white hats, if they exist. Something to let us know that we're not, because, this whole lawfare stuff, like, I get it. I'm not saying people shouldn't be doing lawfare. It's important. It helps to tie up the system. You see anomalies, you report it. But, I just feel like we're all tied up in knots right now. And we are going to have to we're going to have to see. There's going to be something's going to break. I don't know what it is, but it's coming, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, I will see you in probably a week, soon enough at any rate. Take care.